Hi everyone, delonewolf here and welcome back to the Sunday recap, my weekly vlog where I talk a little bit about my last week in games. As always, we'll start with EVE Online, and I've played around an average amount of EVE Online, including a few wormhole trips. Nothing too major so far, just getting back into the habit of using the D-scan, trying to do this in a relatively safe way, but I do still think that this is a very easy way for newer characters to actually earn ISK way above the investment that they need to make in the ship. If for instance you want to do exploration in high sec the way I mostly do it, well, you'll want at least a somewhat decent ship in order to be efficient at running those sites. Same thing with mining. You want either a Tech 2 mining barge or preferably I think an Orca in order to get the best yield possible or the biggest cargo hold. All of that does cost quite a bit as an investment, but when it comes to wormhole space you can easily get millions out of the pirate relic and data sites, and all you need for that is a small exploration frigate, which you will of course lose from time to time. There are plenty of hunters out there, but the payoff is that if it does work, you do stumble upon an empty wormhole with a couple of those sites. You will have earned back like probably a few dozen, even a few hundred of the ships that you're risking there. So it's really the risk-reward balance there that is completely different, but the investment is so small that I think it is still super accessible, and so I'm trying to get back into that activity a little bit. Next to that, a little bit of exploration in high sec as well. Not a billion ISK like last week, but I still did get a faction web that's worth like 150 or 140 million ISK, something like that. That was a pretty damn good drop. And next to that, of course, blueprint copies and PI is something that I do on a daily basis in EVE Online. I'm mostly waiting for EVE Vegas at the moment, right? Get an idea of what's coming this winter. There should be an expansion on the menu. Also Project Nova, really curious about what kind of information we'll get about Project Nova at EVE Vegas. So that's next weekend, and definitely something that I'll try to follow as much as possible. Next up we have the World of Warcraft, and I actually played a decent amount of World of Warcraft. I found some fun activities to do that are still somewhat solo accessible. First of all, LFR. I did a couple of looking for raids, including a Gahoon. All of that stuff is not too hard. You do want to just like read up about the mechanics so that you know at least somewhat about the fight before you get started, but for Gahoon, for instance, we only needed 3 tries and he was done. You basically overgear that enough in most LFRs that these fights become pretty damn easy. So I think that is pretty fun. There's relatively little reason for me to do them, but I still need 2 rings that are actually still blue at the moment rather than purple. So those are 2 upgrades that could come from LFR, and that's the reason why I'm exploring that type of content a little bit. Next to that, for the first time, I also did some raided battlegrounds with the guild. That was quite interesting. I actually enjoyed that. It was not too fast-paced, too hectic, which like arena and especially raided arenas can, in my opinion, be super hectic. That's not exactly my favorite playstyle. There you had like a shot caller, someone that called a primary target. It's all about trying to disrupt the enemy healers and yeah, trying to win the battlegrounds. I think we were 3 wins, 4 losses, something like that. At least I got a little bit of rating out of it. So that should be interesting to see if I actually get a reward for that on Wednesday. But overall the experience was actually quite fun, although it's one-sided in the sense that you very quickly get an idea of, yeah, alright, we're gonna win this one because the first fight is won, we've got the objectives, it all looks good, or yeah, we're gonna lose this one because they are more organized or they have a better composition than us, and then trying to overcome such a difference becomes very difficult apparently in rated battlegrounds. I think it was basically always that situation where you knew in like the first 5 minutes or so that, all right, this is under control, we'll be doing all right, or all right, we're actually getting steamrolled by a Russian team with a much higher rating than us. So It's still enjoyable, but it can feel a little bit one-sided. I still enjoyed it though. And next to that, in the World of Warcraft, I keep up with my emissaries because on the Warlock I still need to work a little bit on my reputations, and the rewards there have been increased. So for instance, I got 355 shoulders from a cache, which also has the Agony trait, which is the one that I personally prefer. My Agony now deals, Curse of Agony now deals 24,000 plus damage. That is pretty damn nice. You can buff that up as well, but keep that going in a battleground on several targets, and I pretty easily get into the top 5 damage when it comes to running battlegrounds with my Affliction Warlock, which is something that I enjoy as well. Of course, next to the Raidal battlegrounds, which is an awesome way to get conquest points, I of course try to earn the conquest points on the other evenings whenever I play solo. So good week in the World of Warcraft. I actually enjoyed it quite a little bit, getting into LFR, doing some RBGs, and doing my regular maintenance stuff with conquest points and with the emissaries. And then for my final game, just a little bit of Overwatch. The reason it's only 3 games this week is because I had to go back to work, real life work, pretty damn busy. Cost me quite a little bit of time and energy, and I don't always feel like adding even more games there. On top of that, I feel like I'm pretty much okay with my wizard in Diablo 3, so all that was left was a little bit of Overwatch, and there I explored Junkrat a little bit. Used to always be pretty damn fun, but not an easy hero to play in my opinion because of the nature of his weapons, right? You throw those small grenades ahead, they bounce around, which in some situations can be very strong and very good, especially in narrow corridors, but of course you've got low HP, and it's not always easy to get out of trouble with Junkrat. Still, I think he's a pretty cool hero, also one that is decently accessible, but you will immediately see the difference between someone that's experienced with him, that knows exactly where to aim at in order to get certain places covered and things like that, compared to me, who's a total noob, who just has to still have like line of sight and things like that in order to be useful to the team. But he's pretty damn fun, and if you do get a couple of those grenades straight on the head of one of your opponents, they do a lot of damage, so he is pretty fun in that respect. You basically have 2 options: go in there, try to do as much damage as possible and try to use some mobility, or be the very long range bombardier, which can be fun as well, but is not possible on every single map or every single objective. Overall though, Overwatch is still going quite well. I'm not sure how much longer I'm going to play Overwatch though, because on the horizon we do have some interesting games coming. Fallout 76, for me personally, it's actually looking pretty interesting. Not too much guild or group driven there. Definitely the option of going the harder solo route, but it does seem to be there, and I was a little bit surprised. I saw a couple of videos about the number of people that you do see on the screen is a little bit higher than what I expected, so we'll see about Fallout 76, but I am definitely looking forward to that. It's on the radar, and at the moment it is still very likely to become a day 1 purchase, not a pre-purchase, because I will wait for like a couple of reviews and things like that just to make sure that things work out. So don't really care about beta for Fallout 76. I have plenty to do, but yeah, day 1, day 2, once I see, yeah, it looks alright, it's what we're expecting, then I will probably play that with my brother. And then we also have X4 coming at the end of November, the 30th, I think. X4 Foundations, awesome game, I think. Potentially same deal. I do think that I'll play that early on after the release, but I will wait for a couple of reviews before I pull the trigger on actually buying the game. And that's it for my week, guys. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you all next time.